This paper is titled Congruence Between Entry-Level Accountants' Required Competencies and Accounting Textbooks. It's authored by Sanjay Gupta and Lisa Marshall of Valdosta State University. The abstract for this paper details that there is a demand for accounting professionals, and it has dramatically increased for the past decade. And the decade defines from 2002 through 2012. An estimated 400,000 new positions in accounting have occurred. And this is all born out of the issue with Enron and WorldCom and various other companies that went bankrupt due to financial issues within their company. There's widespread concern from this proliferation of accountants. There's a concern that there's an increasing gap between current accounting education and the needs of industry. The higher order cognitive skills and the behavioral skills, and specifically technology and communication, need more emphasis. And this paper is an examination of the congruence between end-of-chapter materials and select textbooks and the cognitive and behavioral skill sets that employers desire and demand that drives their bottom line performance for their company. And the behavioral skill sets that are specific to this paper are technology and communication, both oral and written. The professional literature review is coming from three areas. First of all, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, known as the AICPA, stresses the importance of cognitive thinking and a well-developed skill set, specifically the behavioral skill set. The CPA exam requires the application of research and technology skills. Corporate America as well addresses educators about the lack of accounting knowledge and skills through various studies and various references that are in this paper. Specifically, the Institute of Management Accountants, the IMA, survey gave educators a 68% percentage for teaching computer literacy. Association to Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business, the AACSB, has incorporated all of the previous competencies into the Assurance of Learnings, the AOL's standards. And these are very relevant as the governing body, the accrediting body for colleges of business, one that East Tennessee State University is accredited by. The academic literature review, somewhat limited for textbooks end-of-chapter materials. Bloom's taxonomy from 1956 is still the progression of learning processes, and is a major part of this paper, which focuses on the cognitive skill sets, which is basically three areas. The lowest being knowledge and comprehension. The application and analysis of this comprehended knowledge is the next level, and then the highest level is the synthesizing and evaluating of this knowledge and comprehension. That is the area that CPA firms, industry look for, is synthesizing and evaluating. Sullivan and Benke's 1997 study found that 55% of the text contained extensive computer applications in end-of-chapter materials. 42% do not contain any computer problems. The research questions that the two authors of this paper posed is based on: do accounting textbooks end-of-chapter materials have a significant coverage of Bloom's cognitive skills? And do the accounting textbooks integrate behavioral skills required by the accounting profession into the end-of-chapter materials? Because there's a call on every front, this integration of Bloom's cognitive objectives and these behavioral skill sets into the accounting classroom. And again, the behavioral skill set is communication, both oral and written, and also technology. And these are interrelated. The AACSB accreditation standards include communication and the use of information technology. The methodology, the end-of-chapter materials for the leading text in the areas of five areas: accounting information systems, audit, cost, intermediate, and tax were all evaluated. And only one text was used, but it was the leading text for each of those subject areas. There were 1,141 questions randomly selected across the 5 courses on cognitive and behavioral skills. There was also an inter-rater reliability test performed across these 2 authors to confirm consistency. The chart here is the coverage of behavioral skills. Again, the 5 disciplines that are being looked at, AIS, audit, cost, intermediate, and tax, are listed on the left. Across the top, the 3 primary focuses of this study, oral, written communication, and technology, were the behavioral skills that were looked at. One can see by the overall percentages there that 1.4% of the questions stress oral communication, 2.8% written communication, and 3.3% of the total questions selected actually address technology. Surprisingly low numbers. The technology side of this particular chart, technology was defined as having an impact based on whether technology was stressed to be used to answer the problem, whether or not you could use or should use the computer to answer the problem or answer the question. This chart is for the coverage of Bloom's taxonomy, and these are percentages for the 5 major discipline areas. And you can see for each of those across the top, knowledge and comprehension, application analysis, and synthesis evaluation. Well, what were the summary and conclusions that the 2 authors had from this analysis? Again, the demand for accountants is rising dramatically. But there is a gap between the current accounting education and the needs of industry. Those needs being accountants who are technologically savvy, who will drive bottom line performance for their company. And industry leaders are encouraging accounting educators to adopt more relevant curriculum that focuses on real world situations. What were the limitations and suggestions for this particular paper? Well, the limitations, based on what the authors say, is that they examined only one textbook for each discipline. Albeit it was the leading text, there was only one text for each of the 5 disciplines. The questions for rating were split between 2 authors. A third limitation was only textbook examined and not any supplemental material. And no consideration was given to questions a professor might select. The study used a random selection macro in Excel to select the questions. My observations: the paper is data driven. A lot of good analysis, a lot of good charts. The 2 authors appear to have done a good job in researching the various studies that were performed prior to their paper. But there is too narrow of a focus. You can't just look at the written text in making an analysis of how technology is being used, because technology has impacted publishers of textbooks. I know that firsthand from seeing what the Department of Accountancy uses at ETSU. The textbooks that are purchased by students and by the professors, that comes with an access code that allows an e-text as well as online homework, Excel solutions, PowerPoints, and PDFs. These are all standard with Wiley and Pearson, which we use in intermediate and principles. And the professors are all on board in using this type of technology that is provided by the publishers of textbooks. The online homework is especially useful, which is really what would be called end of chapter assignments. The online homework is assigned, and the students can work that at their pace in their own home, wherever they might want to do this. They have online help to assist them in working these problems, and they can also email instantaneously to the professor to ask for help in solving the problems that are assigned. There's other areas of technology as well that have aided the classroom learning experience. D2L, the desire to learn, the Gold Link, internet access in all the classrooms, which allows pulling up a vast array of information through Google and various websites to contribute to the communication and instruction of students. And the professors also have the option of integrating as much technology as they deem is necessary. And again, it's more of a decision from a departmental standpoint as how much technology is to be used, and it's up to the professors to listen to what industry asks for, which I know firsthand at ETSU and College of Business we do that. That's part of the AACSB standards of learning, that we want to be a part of that accreditation process. So those are my observations. Great paper. I believe the focus was a little too narrow to really make some of the drawing some of the conclusions that have been made. Thank you.